All right, good evening, everybody. We'll get the meeting started. Can I get a motion to go into executive session for purposes of personnel and legal matters? Leah and Maria. All in favor? It's 6 of us. Yes, I can count. All right, we'll see you back at 7 o'clock. Thanks.
I'm gonna take it too. Please do.
Muchas gracias, señor.
No hay problema, señor. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Take care of it. So we go one and Mr. Michael.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did? Who?
Yeah, kickball. Other thing. There was like a training thing, that was cool, but they got like a first place kick.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Oh,
I think we do pretty good, right?
cheer got second, that's fun
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Oh, that's all money stuff, that'll take my head.
Yeah, that's okay.
PTA.
That's all right. I'm gonna run to the game real quick.
Oh, basketball game starts at 7.
Did you hear what they're doing?
Besides getting beaten up by Garden City.
Well, the ESPN thing?
What? ESPN.
So some of the seniors, they have a table, they dressed up like sports, like what are they, announcers? And they're gonna have a table and they're gonna pretend like they're, like the ESPN guys, so.
Oh, that's funny. You're
Yeah.
gonna have like commentators for the game?
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
I wanna see it because they're all dressed in suits,
That's really funny.
and it starts at 7. And so does the board meeting. Okay, what is today? 11? Do you know where you're going to school yet?
Probably gonna commit to Hofstra, just try to milk him for as much money as I can first. But it's probably gonna be Hofstra anyway, either way.
What are you gonna go for?
Pre-med and kinesiology.
All right.
'Cause,
Not
like,
bad.
You can major in anything you want.
Yeah.
And still be pre-med as long as it's like a science thing.
Mhm.
So might as well major in something interesting, right?
Yeah, something that you're gonna like anyway.
Minor in some bull crap, maybe philosophy, something fun.
Mm-hmm.
Something. So I don't turn into a one-trick pony. I don't know. But excited for the new stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not a damn thing wrong with this building, but spent the past 12 years with the same people.
I know, that's the thing. And when you finally get to that point, you know when you're done, right?
Oh yeah, everything feels way too optional right now.
You got memories looking familiar?
Oh yeah! That's the Cove Cup bracket.
Why are they
I
moving
didn't go to this tournament, I
everything?
was on vacation. I went to McCullough.
Where were you?
Dinner where Iowa.
Where?
What?
Dinner where Iowa.
I can't hear you.
Disney World.
Oh, Disney.
That was over the Christmas break.
Okay.
I'll be damned if
Test, test. This is for the translator. Mic check for the translator. Yes, she can hear me. Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So can everyone stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Roll call.
Hi, Leah Leone,
Brett Miller.
Maria Venuto,
Angela Ramo.
Megan Levine.
Maureen Jimenez.
Okay, so let's go to our approval of the minutes from the 28th. Can I get a motion? Maria and Brett, any questions or comments? All in favor? 5 and 1 abstention. Okay, committee reports, audit,
Nothing to report tonight.
okay. Policy,
Policy Committee met yesterday, Tuesday, February 10th. Met with department leadership and student senate representatives to review the implementation of the newly adopted student ex officio board member policy, which includes the new requirement that the student board member is to be elected by the student body. So student stakeholders, they responded positively to the meeting and discussed a structured process for leading up to the election. We will look to establish a structured process based on the feedback from student representatives in the coming weeks, which would ultimately culminate in a student election for the post of student board member. The policy committee greatly thanks our student representatives for their open and their honest feedback. We also reviewed notes from a recent meeting with the high school building administration regarding e-bikes, e-scooters, and campus parking policy. During that meeting, building administration reviewed the proposed language related to e-bikes and e-scooters, and they helped provide key information regarding current practices and procedures for student vehicle parking on campus. Our intent as a policy committee is to develop a unified policy that addresses student parking, as well as the use of e-bikes and e-scooters in alignment with state guidelines. We are working with legal counsel to ensure appropriate policy language and are going to continue to collaborate with building administration team throughout the process. We are anticipating to bring that policy for a first read at an upcoming meeting this spring. The committee also reviewed a proposed draft revision to the current grading policy, along with the findings and recommendations of the grading policy advisory team. We reviewed the findings of the grading policy advisory team just again. We reviewed current district practices, NICED and NISBA guidance, best practice research, portrait of graduate priorities, and regional comparison policies. The grading policy and the advisory team recommended replacing the existing prescriptive grading policy that's in place with a more flexible framework aligned to NISBA policy 4710. The recommendations are for the policy committee to revise, create that more flexible policy, as the Office of Curriculum Instruction would lead the development of a consistent district-wide grading guidelines. So the proposed policy and the proposed changes to the policy represents a comprehensive restructuring of the current grading policy. It's going to remove specific references to grading categories, weights, and percentages from our board policy. The important note is that this does not eliminate those elements from practice. Rather, it shifts the definition to district-level guidelines developed collaboratively with administration and teachers. So the district would continue to maintain a unified grading system and consistent approach, while allowing for flexibility to adjust practices in alignment with state guidance, the Portrait of a Graduate, and ongoing work of the Blue Ribbon Commission. So we will probably be talking about this more as we anticipate presenting the proposed policy revisions at the next Board of Education meeting for new business.
Thank you. I was able to attend, and I was really happy that Ryan was also there, because he really does add a lot to the meetings. Okay, Education Committee?
At our most recent meeting on February 4th, the Education Committee engaged in preliminary discussions relating to the middle school programming and scheduling. We were joined by Mr. Tom Pye, a middle school assistant principal, who offered very helpful insight in the conversation. Our conversation included first middle school schedule and requirements. We reviewed the current schedule structure and middle level requirements to ensure alignment with instructional priorities as well as student needs. We then discussed our exploratory language offerings, including opportunities for students to preview world language options prior to selecting courses for grades 7 and 8, with the goal of supporting more informed decision-making for students and their families. We discussed academic intervention services, or AIS, at the middle school and explored potential models for strengthening and reinforcing the middle school AIS supports to provide targeted academic assistance. And finally, we discussed zero period. We examined how other districts utilize a zero period structure, particularly as a strategy to sustain and grow music programming while maintaining scheduling flexibility. These conversations were largely exploratory and framed within the broader context of middle school scheduling and programming requirements. The Education Committee will reconvene on March 11th to discuss acceleration and enrichment opportunities at the elementary level, a review of our winter benchmarking data, and updates and information regarding potential future changes to NYSET graduation requirements.
Okay, thank you. Facilities report.
The high school kitchen has passed inspection, and we have received a temporary permit to operate. The permanent permit will be given when the kitchen is fully operational. Testing of all new water outlets was conducted last Friday morning, and we are awaiting the results. The hood is now fully functioning, and the tables and sinks have been delivered and installed. Our vendor has completed all work on the screens and projectors in the science rooms, and they have conducted training with our faculty. Tabletop gap fillers have been installed, and a damaged windowsill in room 220 has been replaced. We added an additional dumpster to landing, and 2 new dumpsters in the middle school have been replaced. Also at the middle school, ceiling tiles and grid have been replaced in the area outside of the locker rooms. At Daisy, the fire marshal has completed their inspection for the extension, and wiring for new cameras have been installed. As you also may be aware, we are going to have some construction going on at Thayer House starting this spring. Due to some abatement that has to be done, most of the staff at Thayer House will be moving into the new classrooms at Daisy for a short amount of time. The facilities office will be moving into the basement with our construction manager, and registration and transportation will be moving into Carriage House. More details will be shared as the planning progresses and we have solidified all movement. Thank you.
Thank you. Our student board member isn't here tonight, so we'll go into the superintendent's report done by our wonderful assistant supers.
I don't think the live stream is working, guys.
Oh,
I don't see it on GCTV.
so maybe it'll be recorded and uploaded later?
I'm guessing it will be. Just wanted to mention I don't see it here.
All right, maybe Mr. Barry will,
Okay.
not sure where he is, but I'm sure he'll take a look at it. Thank you for notifying us of that. So Dr. Dushner is not able to join us this evening, but we are pleased to present a number of exciting updates in her absence. So I want to start by recognizing that this winter, the Glen Cove City School District hosted its 2026 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. District-wide Essay Contest, which invited students in grades 3 through 12 to reflect on the theme, Dr. King's Dream, Equality and Inclusion for All. There were 3 different prompts. Elementary students wrote about helping others feel a sense of belonging. Our middle school students explored the importance of learning and preserving Black history, especially as this year marks the 100th year since the founding of what eventually became Black History Month. And our high school students examined a current issue in society and applied Dr. King's 6 steps of nonviolence as a framework for change. We were extremely proud to receive a wide array of beautiful, thoughtful, really heartfelt submissions that came from across the grade levels, starting at 3rd grade all the way up to high school, which truly demonstrate our students' understanding of fairness, respect, and community. Some of our winners were highlighted at the community event on Martin Luther King Day and actually were able to share some of their writing. But tonight, we're really pleased to have a number of our writers in the audience with us, and we're very honored to celebrate them. So here's how this is going to work, my friends. I'm going to go up to the microphone there, and I'm going to start reading names. If you hear your name, come on up. Ms. Johnson will give you your certificate, and then we're going to ask you to stand right here in the center so we can take a picture with everyone together. All right? So just wait until you hear your name, and then come on up.
Just to interrupt for 1 minute, Dr. Dashna just sent me a message that it is working.
Yeah, I think all of us up here have gotten several messages that it is working, so I apologize.
All right. We get here? Very good. So if you would please, when you hear your name, come on up. First, Jalice Anekwe. Thank you. Nachikamde Anekwe. Sochikaima Anekwe. Zikora Anekwe. All right, Olivia Arriaga. Joel Andres Calero Vasquez. Matias Calero Vasquez. Regina Cerritos Cortez. Maria Ciccatelli Johnson. Joan Clavel Vasquez. Hudson Daniels. Jordan Dennis. Dariela Dubon Castro. Brianna Escobar Portillo. Liam Fernandez. Jack Fugazi. Damian Guardado. Antonia Iona. Eva Mecca. Ryan Montesano. John Mountrakis. Jacob Palazzo. Here I am. Antonio Prato. Michael Ranga. Madeline Rios. Jaden Romero. Brianna Rothwell. Aaron Salinas. Alexandra South. Julie Steinhauser. Ingrid Villalobos Ayala, and Anna Vulin. All right, let's give one more big round of applause for all of our students. Can you take my phone and take a picture, please? All right. I'm going to sneak in here next year. Switch more? So again, congratulations to all of our student participants. You are more than welcome to stay, but things are about to get very technical. So if you have to go do homework, you are more than welcome to go do your homework, and you have my permission to do so. Thank you again for joining us tonight.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom Donahue and Mr. Joel Varghese, who from Altaris Consulting Group, who are going to speak about our cooperation with them.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Donahue. I'm one of the consultants with Altaris Consulting Group. It's my pleasure to come in tonight and have an opportunity to speak to you. One of the things when we come into a new district is we perform an assessment report. We'll come in, we will look at all your different schools, we will speak to all of your administrators, we will look at all your emergency plans, and we'll put together an assessment report based on what we see, highlighting all the good things that you already have in place when it comes to safety and security. But then we'll also look at things where we feel as though there is an opportunity to have an improvement, where we could, we find those gaps in security, and we'd like to address those. One of the things that we do is we prioritize those gaps that we see into a short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals that we can then address. We like to involve the district. This way we have complete buy-in from the district. We sit down, we'll review the assessment report with the district. We'll also talk about if the district would like to go with a different vendor. We don't have any preference in terms of vendors, but we can help guide you because there are vendors that we've worked with in the past that would have done a very good job. Again, we don't mind which vendor you go with. We just want to make sure that you're happy. We'll help you with oversight in terms of getting quotes from the vendor. We'll also help you with oversight in terms of getting the project completed on time, keeping you on a timeline with that project. When we come in and we talk about emergency management, we will take your existing district plan and we'll also take your building plans. We will look at them, we will update them to make sure that they're in compliance with New York State Education Department. We will put that plan out for you every single year. We'll also make sure that we review that plan with our building principals because we want to make sure that they understand the changes that are made to the plans. Every year, the state makes changes. We like them to make those changes before the month of August because when they make the changes in August, it makes it very difficult for us to get everything done by the deadlines. But we're here to keep you on track and to keep those deadlines met because building plans are confidential. They are not public facing, but they have to be uploaded to the state by a certain date. District plans are public facing. Those are documents that are put on a website. They are approved by the board. There is also a 30-day comment period with those plans. We want to make sure that we meet those deadlines as well and that all of the changes that New York State makes every year are incorporated into those plans. We are in over 500 different schools. We are 48 former law enforcement professionals. We bring our expertise to the table, but again, it is completely up to you with who you use. We just want to help guide the process. We are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for consulting. When we do our assessments, we take a lot of pictures, everything is written, we interview all of the principals. One of our former principals here could attest to that fact. We come in and we sit down and we talk to you, we spend time. We like to take photographs, we put those in the assessment report so that you can see what we're talking about. We always give you best practices. It's best practices nationwide. We can always back up those best practices with empirical evidence. We come to the sites, we walk around, we spend time there. Once the assessment report is put together, we like to review that with the district administration. This way we can get total buy-in from the district administration. We also filter that down to the building principals. We're going to have you tell us what your priorities are. What are the important things that you see once you look at the assessment report? What would you like to work on? We will help you establish a timeline for that. We will try to keep everyone on track with that. We also do training. We like to come in at least once in the spring, once in the fall, do a training at every single school. We like to give the district cabinet the same trainings that we're giving the building principals. This way we're all on the same page. This way the district is hearing what the training is, the principals are hearing what the training is, and it's standardized across every single school. Everything is the same. When we look at some of the safety initiatives, visitor management, I know, I don't want to steal his thunder because I know Joel has something to say about that. He's made some improvements with that. We do threat assessment training. We like to come in and train every single principal on threat assessment, also the district as well, how it works. We like there to be quick reference cards in every single classroom. I know right now Joel is working on the lockdown shades. We also stress the Rave app. The Rave app is free. We'd like every single person in the building to put it on their phone. It works in every single school that we work in. They have it. It is a great tool. We like to always make sure that people avail themselves of it because it's like having a lockdown panic button system on your phone. And the price is right. It doesn't cost us anything. We also look at your cameras to make improvements on those cameras. We want to make sure that if we have analog cameras, we're updating them to digital. We also look at your radios, radio equipment to see if there's any enhancements that can be made there. We will test your 911 phones every year to make sure that they're in compliance with Carrie's Law. We come in and we like to do drill evaluations. We like to see how you do your drills. We always like to do a written form after the drill so that we can keep track of it. We also send out a form to every single principal at the beginning of the year that they can track their drills because we have to do 8 fire drills a year. 2 of them have to be blocked exits. We're also going to do 4 lockdown drills a year and 1 early dismissal. We're mandated to do that by the state. We want to make sure that you stay on track with those so that by the end of the year, we've accomplished all of our drills. When we do training, there's a lot of different topics for principals to choose. A lot of times we'll start off with shell training, shelter in place, hold in place, evacuation, secure lockout, and lockdown to make sure that we're all on the same page. We also do reunification training. Again, reunification is probably one of the most difficult things that a building will ever have to do, yet the state does not mandate it to be part of the training. We like to go through reunification, so again, we're all on the same page. We like to build a reunification kit with you so that we'll have what we need in case we have to do, God forbid, a reunification. We also believe in preventative measures. We're big proponents of threat assessment. We'd like to come in and train everyone on threat assessment. We use Dr. Dewey Cornell's CSTAG model, which is Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guidelines. We use it for a number of reasons. Number one, it works off a flow chart. It works left to right, top to bottom. It is easy to use. It is evidence-based, and it is race neutral. We like that formula. We like that model. It's been around for a long time. We can let parents know that we're using it. We treat every single student the exact same. There is a lot of studies and evidence on it that people can look up on the internet on their own. We also like to come in and talk to our building emergency response teams about topical issues that are happening in Nassau County. One of them is swatting, because we've had a lot of incidents over the last 2 years. Another is bomb threats. These are things that happen at schools. They've happened at a lot of schools in the last 2 years in Nassau County. So we like to do training on that. We like to make sure that everyone is prepared no matter what the emergency. Is there any questions?
What's swatting?
Swatting started about 10 years ago. Swatting, what it is it started with one person calling in a 911 call to someone else's home. That was not happening. Someone that didn't like you would call the police and say, at your address, there's 2 people shot on the 2nd floor. It moved from that to being done to celebrities. And that's when it really kind of came into the public, when they were calling it into the homes of celebrities that have very large homes, very large estates. They would say, at a famous person's house, there's 2 people shot outside in the backyard by the pool. You would get an overwhelming police response. Now there's nothing going on. There's no one hurt there. There's no one calling 911. Someone does it as a hoax. Then they started to do it to schools, where they would call into the school, they would call in and say, there's 2 people shot in the cafeteria. You'd get an overwhelming police response. You'd have armed police running into the building thinking that there was a tragedy going on. There's nothing happening. It's extremely dangerous, both for law enforcement that's responding to that and for the person whose home, business, or school that it's happening at. That is swatting.
What was the name of the flow chart or the that you said you used?
That is acronym we use for it is CSTAG, but it is Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guidelines from Professor Dewey Cornell from the University of Virginia. Yes.
I was just wanted you to reiterate something that I wanted to make sure everybody heard, which is you suggested that everybody, meaning staff in the building, should have Rave on their phone.
We do. We suggest it because it's like having a portable lockdown panic button with you. Now, the Rave system, how it works is when you activate that, it goes to the police, lets them know that there's an issue at the school and that they need to respond. It does not activate your panic lockdown system, meaning it does not deactivate swipes. It doesn't trigger the PA announcement. It doesn't activate blue lights, anything like that. But it calls the police for you, and it's silent. The other thing about Rave that we like is if once that Rave is activated, if everyone else in this room has Rave, even if your phone is on vibrate, it will override that, and you'll hear 3 tones come over, and they're loud. You know someone's just activated the Rave system. You can text each other through that Rave app silently. It is geo-fenced to the location. So a lot of our staff members are younger. They have small children at home. If you were to be home and one of your children was playing with the phone and accidentally activated it, what would happen is you would get a call from Nassau County, hey, we see that you're not at the school. Are you okay? You would say, yes, I'm sorry, my child was playing with the phone. No problem.
Right.
That was a feature they didn't have initially when they first got it, and they learned very quickly that that had to be put on there, that geofencing. It's usually good to about 20 or 30 yards off the property line, and then it will not trigger that overwhelming police response. We like the Rave app. Again, it's like having a lockdown panic button with you at all times. It's not, and I can show you how it works. Basically, you have to press an app. Then you have something that's a slide, where you have to slide your finger over. Then you have to take your finger and hold it down for about 1.5 seconds. So it's not that easy just to accidentally activate it. But we like it. It's been used in other places, and it works.
Just to add to that, right now, administration has the Rave app. It is not rolled out to all staff.
Okay. When will it be rolled out to staff? Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so Mr. Varghese, who is our on-site consultant, is just going to update everyone with some of the things that he's implemented since he's been with the district, which was August.
Yeah, August 4th. My wedding anniversary, and then I took a couple of days off, and then I started back again.
Happy anniversary.
Good evening, everyone, board members, central administration, staff, members of the Glen Cove community. As mentioned before, my name is Joel Varghese, and I serve as the safety security coordinator of Glen Cove School District. And over the past several months, since August, I've been working here, and I had the chance to work closely with the administrators, staff, security personnel, and our law enforcement partners to review different procedures, improve systems, and provide trainings to our districts, which would help us to be ready for a wide range of situations. Tonight, I just want to share briefly some of the safety initiatives that, thankfully, he didn't steal my thunder, Tom, but just to talk a little bit about what we've been doing so far. The first thing is the visitor identification program. Now how we have it is all visitors will come in, they'll get checked in. We have our School Safe ID visitor management system that we still use. We'll scan their license. It will give us a history of that person. It'll run through the sex offender registry list. If they pop, we'll assess it and take precautions as necessary. If they don't, we'll allow them to come in. We'll give them a bright yellow lanyard like this. It'll say visitor on it. We'll put their sticker inside the sleeve, and they'll come in. This improves access control and visibility. So now if you're there down the hall, we'll see someone wearing the lanyard. We'll know that they've been vetted through and they've had permission to come in. On the back of it, we've also included a emergency response procedure card. So in the event that we do need to activate a lockdown, a lockout, a hold in place, a shelter in place, or an evacuate, visitors will have an understanding of what to do. They'll have a quick reference card that they can look at, and God forbid if we need to use it, they can use it. Another thing that we've done so far is threat response training. We've done, in this situation, is going over bomb threat, swatting that Tom had mentioned. Swatting is an acronym of SWAT. You know, LAP, a lot of states have SWAT, Special Weapons Tactics. In Nassau and Suffolk, in the city, we have ESU, Emergency Service Units. So it's basically using swatting resources to go to a specific location, right? And having all the resources diverted over there where leaves a certain population of that area vulnerable where a crime can happen or something major can happen. We went over bomb threats and different swatting response materials, did staff training with them, how to recognize it, what are the proper response and coordination with law enforcement. The emergency procedure with quick reference cards. So these small reference cards we've made for staff members so that they can have it too. It's like a buddy badge. They can attach it to the ID cards on the back of it. So they can familiarize themselves with the procedures. You know, repetition equals retention. The more you see it, the more you look at it, you'll be able to understand what to do in a situation if need be. As Tom mentioned, we did drill reviews and safety feedback. I attend all lockdown, at least all. I know Liza's going to have one tomorrow. I'll be at a workshop for it, but try to attend all lockdown drills and fire safety drills that we have, provide feedback on those drills. Certain situations, if we have bottleneck, how can we avoid that? Can we use another exit? So those are things that we do, and we work closely with the building principals on that. Building emergency plan meetings that we have, the ongoing alert meetings, the building level emergency response team meetings. I attend those and we go over building specific risks, different emergency procedures that we talk about, and we have a collaborative discussion about how do we handle certain response actions, how do we handle certain situations, and we do different tabletop exercises. The Array mobile safety system that Tom mentioned, it is a great tool. Alteris, yes, we do recommend all to have it. I sometimes take a personal stance on it of who all should have it as well. I've spoken to Nassau County Homeland Security. That's who pays for the licenses of Nassau County. So all schools in Nassau County that use RAVE, it's paid by the Nassau County Police, right? They pick up the tab on that. You know, they recommend certain people to have it. Building administrators, nurses, maybe a handful of people. It is great for everyone to have, but also the problem is it leads to accidental alerts, right? And which can cost a lot of resources to be diverted. If you're on campus, all of Glen Cove's coming. In Nassau County, you're going to get all of Homeland Security. You're going to get one supervisor, 4 cars, a SWAT team, aviation. You're going to get a whole bunch of resources, and there's no way of canceling it. It's like you commit an action, there's no pulling it back. I'm at East Meadow. I hit it. They're going to call my house. They may send a car or not. They're not sending all those resources. So it's very important. You know, we're in talks about it to see if we should be giving it all out, but stay tuned for that. But it is a great tool. It allows those of us that have it to communicate with first responders on potentially where we're hearing shots, where we can send the units. You know, they're down at the 100 wing, right? We can send real-time alerts to first responders. So it's a great tool to have. Also, we just conducted our RAVE, annual RAVE system testing, which we had Homeland Security come out to all our 6 buildings and the administration building, and we've conducted, whoever had the app, a RAVE test, which allows us to know that it's working properly and that we would ensure a reliable response from them. Another project is the security camera oversight improvements. With this, it's going over camera repairs, replacements, looking at evaluating blind spots, enhancement recommendations, which are all actively managed for the greater good of strengthening our monitoring oversight. How can we see better coverage throughout the district? The next thing is security team training that we've had. Security staff have participated in tabletop exercises and scenario-based trainings. We focused it on intruder response, medical emergencies, lockdowns, and communication. As Tom mentioned, lockdown door window shades. The district is currently in the process of ordering classroom door window shades. These are to block the hallway visibility, and it's used only during an emergency and lockdown drills. This will allow better visibility and, I should say, concealment and safety during an emergency. Radio communication enhancement. Discussions have been underway of strengthening our radio communication network to improve coverage, clarity, and reliability across all our buildings and outdoor areas. And as Tom mentioned as well, our annual 911 testing, the carries law compliance, That law requires that students, staff, visitors are able to dial out 911 without dialing an additional number. Before it used to be 9, you dial 9, you dial 911. At that time, you'd have a lot of accidental 911s, right? So after that law came into place, everyone's supposed to be able to dial without dialing an additional number. There also tests the location to the first responders, so where you're calling from. If you're calling from the high school, the test will be conducted at, I'm calling from, what address do you get? Where at the high school it's 150 DeSource Lane. If they get 250 DeSource Lane, we have a problem. So now we have to go with IT, we have to speak to BOCES, and we have to get that rectified. So with that, it'll make sure that the location's correct and the information where we're calling the phone number is correct. And all these efforts reflect a proactive approach to school safety. Creating a secure learning environment requires teamwork, awareness, strong systems across the entire school community. I am truly grateful that for the support of the board, the central administration, staff, building principals, so that we can continue to strengthen Glen Cove schools. So I thank you for the opportunity to provide these updates, and thank you for your commitment to the school, to staff, and the students. Any questions?
I just wanted to say, not really for you, Joel, but to everyone else, when you enter a building and security asks for your identification, it's not a personal thing. It's policy and good practice that we need to do. And even if you know the security guard, just give your ID so that there can be a record of you entering the building. They can print your visitor ID, and it has nothing to do with whether the security guard knows you
Yeah,
or
there
you've been there
no-
500 times. It's what we're supposed to be doing.
My mom came to pick up my daughter, and she had to go back home to get her ID. So they really enforce everywhere. So thank you for that.
Okay. Thanks. So, budget. Teresa. Andrew's going to go? Okay.
So as usual, we have a lot of exciting things to report and to share with the community tonight. So we're going to begin this evening's portion of the superintendent's report with what was posted recently as a landmark cultural arts experience featuring award-winning actor Luis Guzman. So the Glen Cove City School District, in partnership with FAME, GC, and the Findlay Middle School PTA, welcomed award-winning actor Luis Guzman for a dynamic district-wide cultural arts experience. Students engaged in meaningful conversations about perseverance and cultural pride, while high school media students transformed the visit into a live, professional-grade production through filming, journalism, podcasting, and photography. The event showcased the power of community partnership and truly Glen Cove's commitment to immersive, real-world learning in the arts, and really had a lot of lasting memories for all of the students in attendance during that time. Recently, from February 5th to 8th, members of the Glen Cove High School Wind Ensemble traveled to the Imagination Campus at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. There, the band participated in a workshop entitled Studio Sessions, where musicians worked on sight reading skills and learned what it was like to be professional musicians in a recording studio setting. The workshop was led by Scott Devlin, a professional saxophonist and Disney teaching artist. The band also played a formal concert at the Disney Springs Waterside Stage for people from around the world. And in between, the band hit all 4 Disney theme parks, very impressive, where they could ride all the rides and enjoy all the Disney snacks. There are videos in tonight's superintendent's report, which will be available to the community to watch when the report is posted on our website. Our students truly made Glen Cove proud by demonstrating a high level of musicianship, professionalism, and maturity. It was really a trip that they will never forget, and we want to give a thank you and shout out to MPAPA and the Glen Cove Education Foundation for their outstanding generosity. MPAPA donated $50 gift cards, and the foundation donated $150 Disney gift cards for each student, really helping them make the trip really be unforgettable. Oh, the videos. lot of great work and a lot of time really went into the preparation for that. So we really commend our musicians for all of their work for that trip, in preparation for that trip. Next, we want to have a big shout out and congratulations to our kickline team who took first place at the Long Island Dance Team Association. And to add on, our Glen Cove varsity cheer team earned second place at the Battle of the Beach competition. We're incredibly proud of our student athletes for representing Glen Cove with excellence, dedication, and school spirit, and their achievements truly reflect the hard work of our student athletes and our coaches. So truly celebrate both our kickline and our cheer teams. The Glen Cove Board of Education and District Administrators recently celebrated the official opening of the high school's newly renovated science labs. This milestone was celebrated during our 7th annual Family Stream Night, which was made possible by the community support of the 2022 bond. To quote Dr. Dushner, our superintendent of schools, it was wonderful to see so many families exploring these new spaces together. The state-of-the-art labs provide our students with the modern learning spaces they need to learn and grow, and we are grateful to the community for supporting the bonds that turn these plans into reality. The evening was packed with interactive activities designed to get students and parents excited about science and technology. Families participated in various stations, including Bubble Science, Doodlebots, Save the Duck, and a special thanks to the Glen Cove Education Foundation for sponsoring the Prismatic Laser Light Show, an event that demonstrated the intersection of art and light science. So, and when you get to the website, there's a quick video about the light show. It looked like a lot of fun, good music choice, and really well done. Next, I'm proud to introduce our Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, Ms. Teresa Cahan, to provide the second budget workshop presentation.
Well, you could click it.
I could.
Thank you, Mr. DiNapoli. And good evening, everyone. Tonight in Budget Workshop number 2, we will review the current estimated state aid figures for the district per the governor's preliminary executive budget, which was released on January 20th. Next, we will review our pilot payments and our reserve balances. And then we will look at the estimated expenditure budgets for the capital and administrative components of the budget. What you see here is a breakdown of the current estimated state aid. Please remember that these amounts are preliminary and will not be finalized until the governor releases the executive budget, which should be on April 1st. Foundation aid is an aid that is given to school district for school operations based on a categorical aid formula. The formula is adjusted by items such as inflation factor, pupil need index, and a regional cost index. The current projected foundation aid for the 26-27 school year is about 2.6% more than the 25-26 year. Excess cost aid is aid designated for students with disabilities in public or private school settings. Districts are reimbursed for some of the costs of this excess under a threshold using an aid ratio based on district property and income wealth. High tax aid is a flat grant per the number of enrolled students. This aid has been frozen since the 2013-14 school year. The remaining aids listed here are expense-based aids. This means that the district will receive aid back on what has been spent and then filed within their ST3 report, which is the annual financial report that's mandated by SED. The overall projected state aid is currently just over $30.3 million. As I mentioned earlier, these figures are from the governor's preliminary budget. The final executive budget should be available April 1st. Also shown here is the universal pre-K grant allocation, which is included when state aid is released. In an effort to prioritize an expansion of UPK, the governor has proposed to increase the per pupil allocation for each student enrolled in the program to $10,000. These funds are paid to the district based on our actual enrollment in UPK. We currently have about 85 students who have registered for UPK for the 26-27 school year. So if this initiative is included in the governor's final budget, we would receive $850,000 to run the program, not the total allocation that they've shown of $1.3 million. This here is our pilot payments. Payments in lieu of taxes, also known as pilot payments, are a result of agreements with the city's Industrial Development Agency. The pilot for 135 Glen Cove Avenue will end and return to the tax roll in the 26-27 school year. Moving on to our reserves, this is a list of our current reserve balances. The reserves are reviewed every year by our auditors to ensure we have an adequate amount. A healthy reserve balance improves our fiscal stability as well as the district's credit rating, which allows us to borrow at lower interest rates. The first column you see here shows the reserve balances at the start of this school year. The use of reserves column shows the amount that was allocated as revenue for the 25-26 school year. We did not have any propositions on the May 2025 budget ballot, so we will not be using any capital reserves this year. The final column shows the estimated balance of what we should have at the end of this year, assuming that we do not have any money available to add back into the reserves at year end. Moving on to expenditures, the first component that we will review is the capital component, which relates to the operation and maintenance of our facilities, the district's debt service payments, and our transfer to capital. Operation and maintenance of plant includes the salaries for buildings and grounds and security staff, as well as the cost for utilities, supplies, architect fees, and environmental fees. The increase you see is due to contractual increases, abatement requirements, and an increase just overall in the cost of supplies. Refund of property taxes is the payment for our tax cert judgments from challenges to a property's assessment. The increase you see is to closer align the budget to what our actual expenses have been. The next three lines represent our debt service. This year is the last year that we have to pay for our previous bond, so we do not need to budget next year for that bond payment. Since the bond project was approved in 2022, the district has borrowed using bond anticipation notes, or BANs. This allowed us to borrow only the funds needed as the projects progressed, rather than needing to borrow the entire amount at once. The projected budget amount is to cover the band payment that is due in June of 2027. At that point, the bond work should be completed, and we would be able to bond the entire amount. The EPC principal and interest are for our current EPC contract. Transfer to capital represents money set aside in the budget to make improvements throughout the district. We are currently in the process of reviewing possible projects, and we'll have more details on those projects in future budget presentations. The current total for capital component is just over $12 million. Next is the administrative component. The Board of Education expenses represent support for the board, including conference attendance and the annual budget vote. District meeting covers the costs of the Board of Education meetings. Superintendent's office and business office include all expenses from salaries for both departments, attendance at conferences, memberships, bid advertisement, financial software support, and the supplies needed to run those offices. Auditing includes the cost of our district claims auditor, internal auditors, and external auditors. The treasurer's office includes all expenses for that office, and the budget for the tax collector represents the cost the district has to pay to the city to collect taxes on our behalf. The fiscal agent fee is the financial advisor that the district uses for its borrowings. This fee has been increased to cover the actual costs. As we've had to ban a higher amount of money, their cost to do that has increased. Legal expenses have been increased to cover the cost of superintendent suspension hearings. The expenses for the personnel office include salaries, attendance at conferences, recruitment, and the cost of the absent management system. The increase you see here is to digitize old files that we are required to save. Records management represents the cost for registrar and residency investigations. Public information represents the cost for the district public relations offices and all of those printing and mailing expenses. Unallocated insurance includes coverage for property, liability, cyber, and flood insurance. Our costs for insurance are continuing to increase, as I mentioned in the last budget workshop, which is why you see the increase here. Expenses for school association dues are for various membership fees for different organizations, and administrative charges are the fees that we are required to pay to BOCES for using their services. Curriculum development expenses include salaries for the curriculum office and the district coordinators, as well as the cost for professional development, curriculum development, testing expenses, and supplies. The increase you see is due to contractual obligations. Supervision of regular school includes building principals and office staff, conferences, and supplies. And that leads us to a total projected current budget for the administrative component of about $9.3 million. In budget workshop number 3, we'll review a few items. First, the program component of the budget. Then we will look at, see what updates we might have on state aid at that point and what our actual 26-27 tax levy will be. And that is the end of workshop number 2. If anybody has any questions. Yes.
Sorry. Speaking about the UPK.
Yes.
So the 1.3 was what we received, $1.3 million what we received this year?
No.
Okay, so what was that
So
figure?
typically in the past, they've given us an allocation which would work out to, let's say it was 100 students. They would say you have an allocation for 100 students. But if we only had 70 enrolled, we only get paid for 70.
You only got like 70%?
Correct.
Okay.
So they plan on doing the same thing, and all of this is still dependent on whether or not the governor has her budget passed. Is that she wants to be able to offer, everyone to offer UPK to anybody that may want it. So she's not giving an allocation specific to a number of students. If someone wants to register and wants to be in UPK, we need to enroll them in and instruct them in some way, whether it's here, an outside organization, however we can do it. But she's not limiting the number that we're allowed to instruct. That number that was on there for next year, 1.3 million, was an estimate of what they think we could enroll.
Oh, I see, like what our capacity is essentially.
Not really our capacity, but just judging from how many I shouldn't say students, not students yet,
Yeah.
but how many children in the area in that
Okay.
age range where they're just giving an estimate of what it could be.
Okay, I see.
But if we had 200 students register,
Right,
we would receive $2 million
Okay.
if it was 10,000 per student.
Okay.
It all depends, what we get paid depends on who actually enrolls.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, since I'm standing up here, I'm going to do the last two, and then I'll hand it back to Angela. So pre-K, they did their lottery today, but if anyone has not registered yet and still would like to register for pre-K or for kindergarten, registration is still available. And our PTA links, if anyone would like to be able to join the PTA. And then it's Angela's turn.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to our first public participation on agenda items only, 3 minutes. Do we have any takers? No? Okay, let's move on to the instructional report.
I apologize. Give me one moment. Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask that the Board of Education approve agenda item 7 on the instructional report, A, Committee on Special Education, and B, Committee on Preschool Special Education. Do you want to?
Did you want to public participation? Did you have something to say? Okay. Or, just another minute.
Okay, sorry. So agenda item 7A, Committee on Special Education, and B, Committee on Preschool Special Education.
Can I get a motion? Megan and Maureen, any questions or comments? All in favor? 6? Sorry, Teresa.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve agenda item 8B, operations, numbers 1 through 5.
Can I get a motion? Leah and Brett, any questions or comments? All in favor? 6. And we got a donation of books for all of the Landing 5th grade students. It's an anonymous donation. Thank you very much. Okay, and now we'll move on to personnel.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve agenda item 9A certified, items 1 through 5 as amended.
Can I get a motion? Brett and Maria, questions or comments? All in favor? 6.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve agenda item 9B classified, 1 to 2 as amended.
Can I get a motion? Maria and Megan, questions or comments? All in favor? 6.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve agenda item 9B, item 3.
Can I get a motion? Brett and Maria, questions or comments? What? All in favor? 6.
I just wanted to add this. So tonight we approved a couple of retirements. As always, we congratulate our staff members on this well-deserved milestone. And just as a reminder, we are going to be formally honoring our individual colleagues at the June Board of Education meeting during our tenure and retirement ceremony.
Okay, we don't have any unfinished business, but we have the first reading of policy about the foils, school district records. So did everyone get a chance to take a look at this? And anyone want to talk about it or anything? Go ahead.
So just a reminder, tonight's proposed amendment reflects the required NISBA update to school district records policy. New York's Freedom of Information Law requires public agencies, which includes school districts, to adopt language in the policy that notifies employees when the district responds to a FOIA request for disciplinary records. So the amendment in our policy for the first read affirms the district's commitment to providing such notice to current and prior employees. And just as an important note, we continue our standard practice of consulting with legal counsel to ensure validity and proper handling of such requests.
So we'll look again at it next meeting. Okay, great. Okay, any board comments? No? Okay. Coming up March 7th, I think we mentioned this last time, is the Diamond Club Scholarship Dinner, and Maria and Ida are two of the honorees, so don't forget to buy your tickets. Congratulations. Stream night seemed like a huge success. There were a ton of people there, and it was really nice to have it in the new science labs. They were really beautiful, and the laser show was very cool. I didn't know what to expect with that, but that was very fun. All the kids were singing. So I think that's it. Be on the lookout for PTA events and things going on in the schools. Okay. Anyone else have anything? All right. So now we'll move on to our final public participation. Please say your name and address. 3 minutes. Please be respectful. No naming of individuals.
Good evening, board. Not some of you guys, how are you guys? Name and address, William Martinez. Actually, legal name is Guillermo Martinez. I live in 2 Apple Tree Lane, just down the street. The purpose for me coming up here is I am a coach. Well, let me back up a little bit. I'm a graduate from Glen Cove. Been living in Glen Cove ever since. Finally decided to pull my kid from Kellenberg to come here. I just been hearing such great things of the new administration. I also returned back to coaching here because of the administration. I love Coach Dotton and respect him that much that I said, you know what, I teach at Jericho, but I live here. Let me give back to the community, and he gave me one more reason to do that. So just know that we in the community think very highly of Mr. Dotton. But the reason why I'm here is there is a rule. I don't know exactly where that rule is. Maybe it's an unwritten rule. But for years, as I coached football here, I used to coach the varsity football team under Coach Kopecky. And the biggest obstacle that we had was kicking. And we would always need a kicker. We never could get a kicker. And like I said, I coach at Jericho, and the football team was always weak. And when I was the head football coach there, the easiest thing that I could get was a kicker, because the soccer team kids would love to throw that onto their resume. You know, the kids who wanted to go to Harvard, they wanted something extra to throw on there. And I said, absolutely. And they were great kickers. Our soccer team was one of the best in the nation at the time. And these kids loved kicking for me, and we found an easy way to get them on board. When I came over here to coach under Kopecky, we were hit with a whole lot of resistance. No, you cannot get a soccer kid. I said, why? I bet you we could get 5 kids from the soccer team who would love to kick for us. Absolutely not. It is a rule that we have here and always has been here. I still don't understand the reasoning behind it. So what am I proposing? Well, I coached down in the middle school this year, and our numbers were extremely low. Football is dying. If you listen to the community, they're saying the youth leagues are down to the lowest amount they've ever had. I think they had a total of 1 team, if my recollection, where they used to have multiple teams. Now they're down to just 1 team. So let's say it used to be 5 or 6. Now, Glen Cove kids, they're saying it's only around 10 Glen Cove kids that are participating because Glen Head is in the mix, all those kids from the North Shore School District, all that type of stuff. So with football hitting with all this, all these little factors are, you know, the concussion stuff, population change, whatever it may be. I would like to open it up to at least, damn, that's obnoxious. Yeah. But yeah, just open it up to a conversation. I know you guys table it and discuss it and then possibly address it at a later meeting, but I think it's something that would benefit the football team, dying numbers, and obviously benefit the kid. And that kid would be actually my son. He just, you know, he's a big kid, 6'3". I was a quarterback here, baseball player for John Delecki, but I would have, you know, if they told me I could play lacrosse and baseball, I would have done it too, you know, played college sports. But I understand the rigors of it, but I don't want to take too much of your time, but
No,
I would
that's
love a honest
fine.
conversation
So
about
just
it.
to clarify, you're asking if, or what the rule is about playing in two
Correct, and
sports
I know it's
in the
challenged
same
at Park
season.
Place, other school districts open it up.
Okay.
So I just don't understand what the
Okay.
rule is here. And if there is a rule, can we just look to change it? Obviously, there's going to be other factors, but Park Place, I think, with their lawsuit, I'm not pressing a lawsuit, by the way. I'm not talking, but I would assume that that's kind of clarified some things
Okay.
for school districts that do have that in policy.
Okay, so someone will get back to you, and then this will also be addressed again at the next meeting.
I appreciate
Okay?
it.
Thank you very
Thank you for
much.
your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Our big audience. Okay. If no one has anything else, can I get a motion to adjourn? Megan and Maureen, all in favor? 6. Thank you, Glen Cove TV, and have a good night, everybody.